This is Anakin Skywalker, and you're listening to the Gold Squadron Podcast.
This is episode 106 of the Gold Squadron Podcast. I'm your host, Dion Morales, and today I'm joined by William. We're making changes together, Hagewood.
Yes, we are.
One step at a time. Now, this week we're going to be talking about the results of the Denver and Hanover system opens, as well as discussing the Wave 4 spoilers that FFG had today on a Tuesday. Perfect day. Thank you, FFG. During their X-Wing live stream. Before we jump into that, though, I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who became a patron over the weekend during the Denver System Open. You guys are amazing, and we're going to be shouting you guys out next week, mostly because if you were watching live, you know why. I'm kind of in a little bit of a tizzy right now, but we're going to be all good. We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about. Will, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing excellent. I just played a game that lasted 3 rounds. It could have gone a 4th, but yeah, so I was like,
Will, I just closed the window on Will. Whoops. Oopsie doopsie. Will, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Again, I got a practice game in for Red Raccoon this weekend.
Yep.
It lasted 3 rounds. Wasn't very... I asked for a quick game. I didn't realize it was going to be that quick. But it's been testing out. We're trying to do a theory craft on Quinn Jest.
Quinn Jest?
Yeah, Quinn Jest is Jake. It's Jake's favorite pilot. And we were testing it with afterburners, which is pretty nasty, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Quinn Jest can upgrade or reload any upgrade. Oof.
Uh-oh.
So he came in pretty quick on the second turn of combat. So it ended up going pretty fast. But no, I'm excited about Red Raccoon.
Yeah, that's this weekend.
There's not too many trials left right now anyways.
Not in this season, no. Yeah, I'm super excited as well. I honestly have no idea what I'm going to play. So we will be streaming it, but because it is within driving distance, it's a play. So I'll be playing, and it'll be like an informal stream until if I'm eliminated, which won't happen because I'm going to win the whole thing, baby. Nah, baby.
Oh, shoot.
Coming after you, Will.
Oh, you're trying to get that revenge? Get that top 4 revenge.
That's right. Go.
That's right. I'm not quite sure what I'm flying. It's we'll probably get into more of it later, but
yeah,
there's too many lists I'm flying right now, or just fly at the enemy and let them make mistakes. Which I feel is less and less X-Wing these days.
Somebody in the chat says pride comes before the fall. No, this isn't pride. This is me pretending. Pretending to be confident.
It's high confidence.
That's right.
Step 1, have confidence.
Well, before we jump into that, let's go ahead and talk about the system opens we had this past weekend. So we had 2 of them. We had one in Hanover, Germany, and one in Denver, Colorado. Gold Squadron Podcast was at Denver, Colorado, bringing you all the action live. And we've started already putting the games on our YouTube channel. If you haven't seen them, go ahead, check that out. And if you're watching this in the future, you can check out the links here or somewhere. There's somewhere. Click up. There's clickable somewhere. You can find it. You're smart. I believe in you. So let's go ahead and talk. I think we have to address the championship list first. It's tradition here. Andrew Knuckles, one of our sponsors, Curl Paw Creatives. Thank you, by the way, for your support this weekend. Brought a list that we had not seen yet in second edition. Just brought it. This whole group of them. There was about 6 of them, and came and just kicked some major butt. Let's go ahead and take a peek. What were they doing over there, Will?
All right, so starts with a Colonel Jindin Lambda shuttle with Emperor Palpatine on board. Has Darth Vader with fire control systems and afterburners. And then the most interesting piece of this is Major Vinder, a Star Wing. Gunboat emojis.
Gunboat in the chat.
He's got the Arsenal loadout. So we're going to have both proton torpedoes and advanced proton torpedoes. Brought Trickshot as his talent. And then basically the two things you need on your vendor always, which is fire control system and advanced slam. Which it comes out pretty reasonably, actually, for every single one of those upgrades. It's still only 64 points, which is nasty. A ship that can shoot 6 dice attacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. And, you know, when I was talking to Andrew about this, specifically this list is designed to take out the quad phantoms.
Yeah.
So, right, it's at 194, so it's definitely coming below in initiative with the phantoms. Usually phantoms like moving first, but he wants to guarantee that the phantoms move first so he knows if it is the right decision to slam with Major Vinder. You get in position and you let loose. And we saw some huge plays with Vinder getting into torpedo shots, but one thing that cannot go without saying is that Andrew's Vader decided to be a god in a couple of his games and just wreck some stuff. Crazy. It was really good. But yeah, overall, the list, you know, I was really surprised to see Palpatine in the list. What are your thoughts on that, Will?
I always thought he was good. Or not, like, as far as Force users go. He's, like, one of the cheapest, and he doesn't have a range restriction. And the most important thing is that he's super support as well, which lets the Lambda, like, fully dedicate, like, every single upgrade is just for support. Got Jindin, probably coordinate action, and also Emperor Palpatine. So just feeding either Darth Vader or Major Vinder, just full support. There's very few upgrades that allow that. But you gotta protect that Vinder. Even with 3 agility between his ability, giving him an extra die, he still is only going to ever have 1 focus token. So if he's getting shot more than once, or trying to bonify his offense and defense with focuses, he needs to get that Emperor Palpatine support. Personally, this is actually an interesting archetype that I've seen floating around, trying to keep track of. Basically, Jindin, some TIE advanced, and then normally it's a defender. Like you get a Merrick Steel and like Ryad I've seen before, or Rexler Brath. But in this one, brings in that Major Rhymer instead of that defender. And every kind of version of that archetype, basically Palp Aces, has a Force user on board. And I think the Force user is probably the best upgrade a coordinating Lambda can take.
Yeah, like the biggest thing that people got caught off guard with, and I even saw some chat online, like, well, how does Vinder modify those torpedoes? He's usually coming in only with 1 action. There's a couple of ways we saw Andrew do it, as well as Joe Killingsworth when he played it on stream one time. So you can coordinate the lock early so that on the advanced slam, they're just focusing. A lot of times they have the lock beforehand, so using Jindin's ability, as well as if you're already in the scrum and you need to target lock for your action, you have the fire control system for at least 1 reroll, and you have the Emperor Palpatine force token to modify at least 1 of those. And if you're throwing 4 or 5 dice, I mean, that's going to equal, 3 to 4 hits each time. Like, you're going to have some consistency there.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting that you could just slam right into a ship and then actually pretty well modified shooting the ship behind it.
And one of the really scary things in this list that you don't see too often, but was used to great avail, was the advanced proton torpedo. He got that off 2 times in the final and just wrecked some things. Looking at my production calendar here, which is across from me, the final should be up on our YouTube page next. Oh, it's covered up by my light. I think it's next Monday or Tuesday. We release about 1 to 2 games a week, but we're doing the stream on Saturday, Sunday, so it'll be sometime next week. I would highly suggest watching that game. Very entertaining. All right, so let's go ahead and look at one of our other lists here. Oops, where did it go? There it is, right there. So we had the runner-up. There it is. Go ahead, break down that list for me, Will.
All right, so it starts with 2 first-order test pilots, which I believe are the Initiative 4 with a talent silencers. They have fanatical and advanced optics. Super easy synergy. Just modify your offense however you can, or double mod it with a single focus token. Mm-hmm. Those are super good. And then Quick Draw. Quick Draw has the required, basically, Special Forces Gunner. And then this one has pretty loaded down, a 70-point Quick Draw. It's got Fanatical, Pattern Analyzer, Fire Control System, and Afterburners.
That's a thick Quick Draw.
I mean, it makes sense to me. You got to have Pattern Analyzer so you can rotate your arc when you sloop. Yep. I find Quick Draw sloops a lot. Because I think that's his only red move. Hard one.
They have a K-turn too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
No, just 2 sloops. Or 3 sloops, excuse me.
Making that up? Okay, yeah. I'm thinking of another ship.
Probably. There's a lot of ships these days. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, you get that Pattern Analyzer, so you can still double modify your shots when you sloop. You can even boost when you sloop as well.
With the afterburners?
I've really grown on afterburners. I just want to put it on everything these days.
Yeah, definitely watching the last few weeks of the last few events of streams that we've been doing and seeing afterburners pop up more and more. I'm starting to convince that it's definitely one of the better upgrades out there. I mean, we've always liked giving things boost, right? In first edition, you try to slap engine upgrade on whatever you could. Now, you got afterburners, which is you can only do it twice, but having a boost 2 times when and it not really cost you anything besides the 2 charges in that turn, it's really good. It is very good.
Sometimes you might not be in a 3rd round of combat. So sometimes the 2 charges means a lot. And especially, we just discussed it on 2 Initiative 6s as well. And I think that's really where it gets pushed over the edge. Afterburners might be another card that could use like variable pricing.
Yeah, depending on the initiative.
Yeah, but I guess blockers could use it too.
True,
potentially.
True.
But yeah, no, excellent ship. Double modifying, and basically for being quick draw, nobody ever shoots at you either.
No, and I have to talk about. I think the play of the weekend.
Oh man,
okay?
I seen the clip.
Mitchell, man, this. So Mitchell has just quick draw left. And his opponent, whose name I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but anyway, basically Mitchell 5 straights through a rock during the activation phase, has a 50-50 chance to roll a die, right? Because it's on an asteroid, gets the hit, strips the shield, quick draw's ability goes off, gets to attack. First attack, 4 blanks. And it was like, oh, man.
I know. He's attacking a wedge who hasn't even been activated yet. Sitting there with this dial down.
Exactly. And then target lock, boom, kills wedge, game over. His opponent just concedes right there. Because if Quick Draw would not have gotten that attack off, the other player's winning that game. Like they're ahead on points, and just with a little bit of patience would have. Oh, there you go. Somebody has put the Twitch clip in the chat. Watch that clip. Take a second, watch that clip. It is so good. It is so good. It is the play of not even of the game. That is the play of the weekend. Like it was just oh my God, so good. Yes. And like it was one of those where Asa and I, which by the way, I do gotta give a shout out to Asa of Back to Dials, was a fantastic co-host and was a lot of fun to hang out with. So thank you, Asa. So congratulations to Andrew. And one of the things I want to talk about with these lists is these are both two lists that have not been prominent in the X-Wing scene. We haven't seen lists like this, at least in the United States, do well. What do we think this means going forward for the extended meta? Like, I obviously we know that Quad Phantoms is still good because it was still in the top 16. It was in the top 16 also in Hanover. But there was also a lot more variety than I think people thought. People thought the whole top 16 was going to be nothing but Quad Phantoms and Handbrake Hans, like they like to call it. What do we think?
Well, actually, I think Michael's list has popped up, but it's just so many weird variations of that kind of first order 3. Like, I think it was like Lucas got runner up, but he had Kylo Blackout Midnight. So the same kind of style of like some sort of TIE fighter, and then 2 of the silencers. I think that's good. I mean, I always have a hard time judging First Order because I feel like a lot of their stuff's like all on the same power level. I just don't know what's good. Now, in this particular list, and Mitchell's list, it's just Phantom hard counters. And I think that's what you said about Andrew as well. It's just like, let's hard counter Sigma squadrons.
And the one thing when I was talking to Andrew, he didn't face any Quad Phantoms until he got into cut. So he had to mow through a bunch of different archetypes before even having a chance for the list to do what it was going to do. But then he got Quad Phantoms in the top 8 and top 4. And the list just did what it's supposed to do.
There you go. See? Brought it when you needed it. Let's see. So I'm looking through the cut list here. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, just 4 Phantom. Only Phantom list.
Yep.
Got a Darth Vader MDARS in there. Got a Darth Vader new. What is that with Denver? Why is Denver like gunboats all of a sudden? Is that a thing?
Say that again. I'm sorry, I missed that.
You're talking about a bunch of people brought gunboats. Well, I assume it was the Baron, a bunch of people,
Yeah, so there was 6 of them, I believe. Yeah, with that same exact list, the Hatchet Man.
Sense.
And I guess this is something that they'll probably talk on the Birmingham Barons podcast about. But I was hearing rumors that not confirmed, but I believe the person who first flew this kind of this type of build on Major Vendor in their area, who I guess named it Hatchet Man, actually passed away recently. So it was a bit of a tribute to him. That's why they all brought it. So that was pretty cool. Again, I don't have all the details, but that's what I believe.
Sure, no, I'm very familiar with the infamous Hatchet Man from first edition.
But yeah, so looking at some of the other top 16 lists, we had the Lock Revenants with Drea, so 3 of the Skurgs with Drea, veteran turret gunner. Obviously, very beefy list. We had Quad Phantoms again. Then this was a list I tried to get him on stream 3 times, and he denied me 3 times, and that was the triple new Squadron with ion cannons and Darth Vader. So it was. I really wanted to see what he was doing there. He has Advanced Slam and the XG1 title with ion cannon on each of them, and each game is like, "Okay, give me the next one. Ask me for the next one." And by the time he was like, "All right, for sure, the next one," he actually got eliminated. So that was Brent. He played really well and got was able to get into the cut. Did really well. I think he ended in the top 16.
Yep.
Then we had Ken Cho, which we did get him on stream round 1. That is Mr. District Foundry. Gets into the top 16 with a double infiltrator list.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Darth Maul.
I see that he's got a Susan Navigator on there, which is stealing a trick out of Resistance on. Where, because the Scimitar has 1 and 2 bank and 1 and 2 forward blues, which means if you season Navigator back to them, they're still white, so you're not as penalized as much.
Yeah.
Is that what you saw? I remember watching that the first game in the morning, but I was pretty tired. That's how things work. But
people are tired in the morning. What?
Yeah, right. So I think that's super interesting because Maul's tricky. You got to keep him shooting and alive. I actually see that he lightened up his Dooku to get a heavy Maul out there.
Oh yeah. And basically, looking at his strategy is that he let the opponents come to him, and he lit them up with torpedoes. Like that was the plan the whole time. Just light them up when you could.
Yep. Nah, it's a fun list, dude. I don't have the capabilities of flying large base ships like that.
Another Drea triple lock. This Rebel Beef list with the 2 B-Wings, X-Wing, and Wedge and Cassian is very good. Tried and true. It went second place there was a European tournament that I'm forgetting the name of. Was it maybe another System Open?
Hanover?
Well, Hanover was this weekend. It was Luke Townsend. I'm forgetting his the exact event, but it really went well with it. We saw quite a few of those.
Oh, was that Birmingham?
Yeah, the UK System Open. Yeah, really good list. Just another version of Rebel Beef that has very high efficiency. We had quite a few people running that. Nathan Jackson with triple MDAR test pilots and Darth Vader with afterburners. Gets into the top 16. A couple of other quad phantoms. Here is triple Imperial Aces. Gets into the top 8, which this list is going to come back, or something very similar is going to come back here. Darth Vader, Sunterfell, and Whisper. And we already talked about Mitchell. Justin bringing a very similar list. Rebel Beef, but a different flavor there. Let's go ahead and talk about this one.
I like this. This is interesting. So he's got Heftaber, who's the U-Wing, gets an action if you run into him with Intimidation, which takes away the agility whenever somebody shoots at you. He also has Arvel out there. It's the A-Wing who can boost into people with Intimidation, and has Lieutenant Blunt with Crackshot and a Bayonet Squadron. So U-Wing, A-Wing, a 3-dice Z, and then a regular Z who can also block pretty good. And then finishes out with just Wedge Antilles with Swarm Tactics. So potentially a 3 agility ship could have no defense if he pulled off both Intimidations and Wedge.
Ouch.
That's not going good. I mean, it would almost be impossible, but not with Arvel who could boost into you though. That could actually work pretty good. Super interesting. I would love to see that on the table.
For sure, yeah. I tried the match that I was gonna try to ask him to play on stream. He was up against Quad Phantoms, and I didn't quite wanted that turn. So I was like, let me go get another one.
So here's a question for you. Is this a Phantom hard counter? Hef is 2, Arvel's 3, so they're really easy to get those blocks off on them.
I think that's probably what he's going for, right? You get in there really aggressively, and you have ships that don't care if you bump. Of course, you have to try to judge. You have to judge the Phantom Decloak, but the way a lot of the Phantom players right now are playing it, where they're kind of staying on one board edge, you can pretty clearly say, okay, they have to go this way because those are their only choices. But yeah, I mean, they have the answers there, trying to get that intimidation off. And if they don't have dice to throw, the focus evade doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. I like that quite a bit.
Yep, and then we had Isaac Martin with the Han Solo Lando list. We did get to see this one on stream, and just this is a version of Handbrake Han. If you're not familiar with that that name, the nomenclature, basically you have Han Solo, Rebel Han Solo, with Kanan Jarrus and inertial dampeners, allowing him to stop and not end up stressed, and being able to do boost off after do some type of action after the inertial dampeners, or do an extended move. So usually dial in one of the threes. So you have lots of different places you can end up being at, depending on what you're doing there. With Lando, which we know is just very good, free coordinate after doing a blue maneuver, with a range 3 bubble and trick shot and neon numb. You could tell by his setup when we did see him on stream that he was very practiced. He had a very solid opening. He understood his spacing and had a plan there. So very well played by him. Yeah, just all around very good archetype there. Then you round that out at the 16th spot with Andrew Bunn, flying another First Order variant here, triple First Order with Kylo Ren, which seems to be the linchpin right now of the First Order. All of these ships are bringing Kylo because he's Initiative 5, most likely.
Except for that quick draw.
With Force and Hate. Yeah, that's very true. Except for that one, like he's like, I don't need Kylo. Every other list is bringing Kylo.
I think he technically brought 2 Kylos if they move after the Phantoms.
Very true.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
Then you got Kylo Ren, like I said, Kylo Ren, Lieutenant Tavson without upgrades, and Starkiller base pilot. This is really similar to what Brad was running.
Yep. Just ditches the petty officer to get hate, which is like it's a fair trade, I guess.
Yep. So super cool. Congratulations to every player in there. And one of the really neat things that happened is, so 18 players made day 2, and for whatever reason, in their system open kit, they actually received 18 sets of templates. So they gave all 18 a set of templates on day 2. I'm sure some people will probably be like, man, it's only supposed to be top 16. I get it. But they all made 5 of 1, and Cascade was like, hey, we got them. Let's go ahead and give them away, because otherwise they're just going to sit in a box somewhere. So I thought it was really cool. Really cool of them. Let's go ahead and move over to Hanover, going across the world to Germany, and champion Jerry, I'm going to guess, Jerry Koskela from Finland. And what did he bring, Will?
Looks like he's got triple Imperial Aces. Suntier's got Predator. Darth Vader doesn't have Afterburners, has just Fire Control System, and then brings Whisper with Duke and Fifth Brother. And 11-point bid, which is kind of like his 4th ship there.
Yes, my fourth ship over here. Yeah, I mean, you bring the 11-point bid. It's very aggressive, but you want to make sure that all of these ships, if possible, are moving after your opponents, right? That's the plan there.
Oh, yeah. And we got 2 6s, so...
Now, this is really similar to the archetype that was brought in the top 16. Where'd he go?
John had... he had advanced sensors.
Yeah, there it is.
To the Fifth Brother.
Yep. So trading out the maneuverability, the pre-maneuverability, for the force, and also just that ability to change a focus to a crit, just being able to hit a little bit harder.
Man, these guys must fly Darth Vader really good. No Afterburners?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that I was really surprised by was the absence of afterburners. We know that fire control system obviously helps the offensive output, but talking to a lot of the players, I was like, for instance, I was talking to Asa, who flies a lot of Vader. I was talking to Andrew, and I said, all right, if you could only have one upgrade on Vader, what would it be? And they actually all said afterburner. So I would love to talk to these players who are doing well with just fire control and saying, can you please just teach me how to do this? Because a lot of times you want those barrel rolls and boosts to, we'll say, course correct a little bit. Nobody's perfect, but yeah, I want to see how somebody with only fire control system and your forced barrel roll, no afterburners, is able to take advantage.
Have we discussed how afterburners and Darth Vader works on gas clouds? Because
we haven't,
disgusting.
But go ahead.
So as long as so Darth Vader does whatever move, doesn't matter. He hits as long as it's not red. So a non-red maneuver, hits a gas cloud.
Yeah, 3 or more.
As long as he clears it so that his boost doesn't touch the gas cloud.
Mm-hmm.
He can afterburners boost and then use his Darth Vader ability to take all his regular actions. So he basically can spend a force to, well, I guess and his afterburners. But as long as he can afterburners, gas clouds just don't exist for him.
Yep.
That's gross.
He's Darth Vader. It's thematic.
He's got a lot of practice in those Aether sprites, that's for sure.
There you go.
It's about the same thing. But yeah, that's very interesting to me. I mean, super congrats to it. Like I said, if he can fly it, there you go. Also, I guess you get people to chase Whisper and Soontir, and Darth Vader doesn't have to boost as often. That's
very true. Very, very true. And then what kind of adds to my surprise of Jerry? We're gonna say Jerry. It's probably like Jedi or something, but I'm gonna call him Jerry. My surprise with him winning is what his matchup was going into the final. So going into the final, his matchup was quadruple K-Wings with barrage rockets and proton bombs, and one of them has Sabine. So he brought 3 fairly squishy, low health Imperial aces that don't want anything to do with bombs, especially Soontir, right? And
yeah, right.
and wins this game. I know I didn't catch it on stream, but I know that it was recorded, and hopefully those games get published. And I would love to see the final because I want to see how close was this game.
It's the ultimate, run and gun.
Mm-hmm.
Because those I so badly want to fly the 4K wings. I don't own enough of them to put it on the table. I flew it in online one time, and those things just move so weird. They're crazy fast. They drop bombs everywhere. They got 3 arcs. Oh my god. So I have no idea how I got through it. I mean, I guess like I said, it's a lot like cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Right? Where you're trying to not bait, more like feint. You feint that you're going to go in with your aces so that they drop their bombs, and you don't at all. You leave.
Actually, no, thank you.
Yeah, and but you have to do that beforehand too. You got to position yourself like you're coming in. Then once these K-Wings drops 2 of its bombs, it's not shooting very well or at all before it can reload more. So if you can separate and kill box a couple of them, you'll be all right. I mean, Whisper and Vader have 2 shields. You can take a proton bomb or 2.
That's true. You are not wrong.
Ooh, though that Sabine's nasty. You gotta hunt the Sabine one.
That's what I'm worried about. Like you get one.
Worried about.
So if you haven't messed with Sabine at all or seen it in your local meta, we actually have a local guy here in Chicago, James, who loves Sabine, and I've been on the receiving end of her. So it says during setup, you place one Ion Jam Stress and Tractor token on the Sabine card, and then after a ship suffers an effect of a friendly bomb, you can remove one of those tokens from the card and assign it to that other ship. So you can do something, and it's not once per turn either. So if you have the opportunity to give somebody a tractor, you can tractor them into the next bomb, and then you can ionize them, and now you know where they're going to be. So then you drop the turn to the next one.
Yeah, set up the bomb for the next round.
Yep.
That one stresses them, so they can't K-turn and keep chasing you. Gross.
Very, very good. So, congratulations to both of those players. And I do want to take a look here. I don't have a formalized list of who was playing what, but I do want to give a shout out to Min Fan. He actually sent me just a really quick synopsis of what was in the cut. So I'm going to go ahead and put our super secret notes up on screen here. Super secret, guys. All right. So taking a look at some of the things that were in the top 29. So they had a total of 200 and change players. I'm not remembering off the top of my head. I had it written down somewhere. But we'll continue here. So 2 Jedis with 2 Torrents. We had Vader, Soontir, Duchess. So a very similar archetype, but just with Duchess instead of Whisper. XX U-Wing Torpedo Alpha, so it's very similar to what Marcel's been running, right? Luke Wedge, probably with Cassian. Then you have Hera with Saw Crew, Nora, and Wedge, or something similar. So we saw something like this at Adepticon. I don't know if you remember those games, if you watched them, where one of the gentlemen who we had on stream, he took his Hera, he killed his Hera in order to try to win the game. Like, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty epic. He won the game, and it was valiant. We'll say valiant.
Sounds like a Hera thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Had some Rebel beef. More. This is interesting right here. Luke, Wedge, Arvel, Jake. It's another time Arvel's popping up here.
So that actually reminds me. I've been trying to dig through all of the Rebel ships who have linked something. Mm-hmm. And they actually synergize with Jake's ability. Then Jake can give them a focus, and then they can link off of it.
Yep.
And the X-wings, you can actually give them so Jake moves. Both X-wings have their wings closed. He could give them that focus boost before their dial. Remember doing that with Lando?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he could also do it to Arvel. Like, Arvel could move up, and then Jake could tell him to take a focus, and then Arvel could boost into range 1 for a block or something. So I think we're just now tapping into the potential of Jake, and he's secretly a support ship.
Yeah.
Like, he's not what we want out of that platform, but he's not a bad support ship.
No. And I think a lot of people going into second edition were remembering how he was using first edition. You put proton rockets on him, and he was just a sneaky way to come, and you run and gun, and you punch somebody in the face, and then after that, you try to arc dodge and just get your little 2 pea shooters, 3 at range 1, and try to win the game that way.
Yep.
So continuing down our list, we got some 2 times quick draw Kylo Tavson. We have a Sloan shuttle. Sloan has been something that's been kind of quiet in the system open extended meta. Why do you think that is?
Because we've gone up to 4 ship average, I think. Mm-hmm. I think the Sloan punishes 3 ship builds a lot more.
Agreed. Han Jake, we talked about that a little bit. Drea with Skirgs. Here we go. This is kind of what you were talking about, right? Will, Ryad, Merrick, Shuttle.
Version of it. Yep.
And then here, Sharanu, a Decimator making it into the cut there. We got Quad Phantoms. Of course, we had Quad Phantoms. Kylo with double shuttles. Howl Swarm, which we know that TIE Swarms are good. You just got to have the patience to make it. But notice that this one was a 7 TIE Swarms. I mean, there was a couple of academies in there.
Mm-hmm.
You had, let's see, this is 2 times 4 times 5. What?
So two Resistance 5s.
2 Resistance 5 lists. There you go. Vader Soontir Whisper, which we already hit, and the Quad K-Wings. So that's a pretty diverse cut.
I would say so.
So now one of the conversations that I want to have now, really shortly, is one of the biggest complaints that I'm hearing about Extended is people say, like, there's a lot of things that are broken in it. There's too much to balance, and I would say that this weekend showed a lot more variety in the top list than we have seen in the system opens. So, is it a product of people just learning that, hey, there are more things that are viable than we thought? Or is it that people are like, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and, like you said, counter Quad Phantoms, counter, really that's the list, because it's kind of hard to counter the Han Jake thing, but have something to answer probably the biggest list in it, and that's just kind of creating all of these, we'll call them weird lists?
Yeah, I mean, if you can take out the boogeyman and you can hang with some jank, yeah, sure, you might be able to do it. I mean, a couple of these European lists here, like, I would say that they're like jank. They're like your casual night list, but flown well.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, it's a different game.
There you go. So, yeah, super cool to see a lot of different variety there. I know that for myself as a caster, this weekend was one of the more diverse metas that I got to see on a table and say, oh, hey, I had a lot of options to choose from. And we got to try to see a lot of different lists, and congratulations to those who did so well. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and go to our next topic here, and that is talking about the Wave 4 spoilers that were dropped on us.
So this is the logistics division pilot. We're looking at the initiative 1 here. And you said this is when it's combined together, correct? Is there? Well, I guess we don't know, but it clearly says resistance transport and has the symbol of the giant one. It's got 2 dice out the front. It's got 1 agility and 5 hull, 3 shields. So 8 health, 2 attack, 1 agility. But has focus, target lock, red coordinate, and red jam. And we assume it has crew members because it is a transport. This one's holding C-3PO, which is interesting because C-3PO should give you basically a calculate for coordinating, which is in bed.
Not at all. I'm still looking. Sorry.
That's okay. Move on to the next one. I'm sure you'll find it. Like I said before, the GA-97 synergizes can long range coordinate with anybody, with the person who has C-3PO. We have initiative 3 resistance transport, all the same stats, just resistance 3. This one's rocking an auto blaster, which is a drastic change from what it was in first edition. This is a 2 attack dice front arc weapon that's range 1 to 2. So it does get the additional dice at range 1. And it says attack. If the defender is in your bullseye, roll 1 additional die. Stop for a second. That's a 4 dice attack at range 1 in your bullseye. Pretty good. Also, it says, during the neutralize results step, if you are not in the defender's front arc, evade results do not cancel crits. So there's the true like auto blaster, can't be canceled crits. But you have to be out of their arc and roll a crit for it to work. And this will be interesting. This will actually boost up some of the damage power on these transports because they only have the 2 attack dice. Same way with Seeks. I guess Star Wings, obviously. I'm trying to think of 2 attack dice cannon carriers. Am I missing one, Guillaume? Star Wing, this transport, Seek. Is that it?
Off the top of my head, I think that's it, but I'm not entirely sure.
Very few things have cannons these days. It used to be a very popular upgrade, but I guess T-70s have them now too, so even more ships are getting them.
Yeah,
Anyways.
I mean, like, because the only other cannon I'm thinking of is like the Resistance X-Wing, but obviously they naturally have 3 dice, so this is not going to do anything.
Same with B-Wings, Upsilons, and Fire Sprays.
Mm-hmm.
So, very interesting on those 3. You get 2 cannon slots on the Star Wing too, so could be an interesting up-close weapon for them.
All right, here is that it's the Resistance card. So let's pretend like nothing happened. So let's. So those of you who are watching live, or if I forget to edit this out, we try to
don't edit it.
It's fine. All right, here we go. So GA97 says set up during. Set up. Let's just do this again. Sorry, guys. Setup. Before placing forces, you may spend 3 to 5 charges. If you do, choose another friendly ship and assign the It's the Resistance condition to it. It has 5 recurring charges and gives you the calculate action. Will, what is It's the Resistance?
All right, so this is given to a ship that you placed in reserve. It says setup, start in reserve. When you deploy, you are placed within range 1 of any table edge and beyond range 3 of any enemy ship. At the start of the round, if all of the friendly GA97 charges are active, you must deploy, then remove this card. After the friendly GA97 is destroyed, you must deploy, then gain 1 disarm token and remove this card. So it sounds like the let me confirm with you, Guillaume.
Yeah.
There's only 2 ways you're deploying with this card. If all of the at the start of the round, this is during planning when you normally deploy, if all the charges are active, or if GA97 is destroyed. No other way to deploy, correct?
Correct. If you've been assigned the It's the Resistance, that's it. Now, I find the mechanic really interesting. I'm going to say that it seems really fun and thematic. But I don't know if this is a good card. Like, I feel like this has to be cheap. Like, the being able to show up at a certain predetermined time seems really, really cool. But I worry about, like, what if you kind of put the onus in your opponent's hands? Like, hey, I'm down a ship, and if you can punish me before that ship comes back, if you chose the wrong number, then I'm at a disadvantage. And it's when you deploy, right? So you win. Let's go back and look at. It says before placing forces. So you have to choose the number of turns before you even see where your opponents have put down their ships.
Mm-hmm. Well, you only have 3 options: 3, 4, or 5.
But that's in X-Wing, right? We've talked about the 14-turn counter quite a bit, right? We did the research. We got to update things for 2nd edition, but it's still about the same pace. That's a big difference.
I feel like, do they have boost? Are they fast? Make sure it's 3. If they're slow, Put the 5. Also, you got to gauge how fast or slow your ships are too.
True.
If it's a bunch of these transports and they can't move very fast, you better only have 3 charges on there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, no, are we 3 charges? Yep, so you'd have 3 left. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that right. So they come in the start of the 3rd round. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Because you would get that charge at the end of the 3rd round, and then you'd come in on the 4th.
Turn 1.
I think that's how.
Flip,
I think that's how
2,
charges
flip,
work.
Turn 3, flip, and now you're out. Yes. So it'd be on the 4th turn. The 4th or the 6th turn.
Oof, 6th turn.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking of like a little risky, but Poe. That'd be really cool. Very thematic as well. Poe just comes screaming in.
Yeehaw, baby.
Yeah, five forward right behind you. Maybe even like Lulu.
Yeah.
I play against Lulu. I fly straight towards him. Wherever Lulu is, I'm going for him.
That's I like that as an option for sure. Yeah, like around turn 5 or 6 is usually in a typical game where people start engaging, and being able to have a flank automatically sounds really good. The part that I just worry about is your opponent knows exactly the turn that ship's going to come out, because you don't get to hold it. Like, it's a must. You must deploy at that time. It seems risky. It seems really fun, though. I will say it seems really fun.
So let me theorize here that if you put this crew member on Han Solo, and then the only other ship in your build was, like, say, Poe, right? Or Rey, sure. I guess I didn't think about that. That's kind of Last Jedi style. Like Rey comes in at the last moment, starts cleaning up TIE fighters from out of nowhere. That's pretty cool, like that. But yeah, you could literally deploy 0 ships in your deployment zone if you put this on Han.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. How do you fight that? You don't know where they're gonna be.
Yeah.
They could be anywhere. They could be right next to you. Well, not right next to you, range 3. But
range 3, yeah.
It's interesting. Is it a good ability? I don't know. I think it's hilariously fun though. It feels very Resistance-y to me. Right? Like, you calling that one last backup. Like, we're dying out here, Poe.
Right. Again, yeah. I mean, the idea, it just seems risky. I totally get it. I totally get the temptation where you say, I get to come behind my opponent no matter what. Yeah, but they still have X number of turns, and then the exact number of turns before that ship comes in. If they hurt you, I'm gonna play with it. We'll put it on stream for League Night. We're gonna try it out. I just think it seems risky, man.
I think your best bet is Lulu.
I like a Resistance A-Wing, yeah.
Or Rey. I think that's cool too, because you don't want it to get lit up in the opening engagement, so you bring her in like round 2 of the engagement instead.
Right.
Just Poe. Just sandbag your Poe.
I see a couple people saying, but they don't know where the ship is coming from. If your other ship is dead, if your ships are dead, it doesn't matter. It's 1v the rest of their list. That's a real situation. I'm just saying, I think you have to be careful with it. I don't think it's not a silver bullet of any kind where you're like, I get to come in behind. Well, if your other ships are dead, then it doesn't matter. Most of the time. We'll see. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Yeah, let's keep looking at it. And yes, it is choose another ship. I know that. GA goes on another ship. Anyway, we gotta hide that image because I pulled that one on. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these new crew members here. We got Connix. After you reveal your dial, you may set your dial to a basic maneuver of the next higher speed. While you execute that maneuver, increase its difficulty. That
So
seems interesting.
On stream, they were using this in a transport. I believe a full-size transport. Maybe one of the little ones. I forget now. Well, no, I assume it's this one because this is the upgrade cards that this ship has. So what they were doing on stream was that the transport had a reverse maneuver.
You're right. Yeah, I have the dial in here somewhere. There it is.
Yep. Yeah, it has that reverse one bank. So then they decided to, instead of doing a reverse one bank, they're just going to take a white 2 forward.
Seems good.
So I mean, when you have so many, what do I say, non-basic maneuvers like that? I mean, when you're with that's a big difference of where your ship's going to be. I don't know what it means for like other ships, but we were talking about Maul doing the same thing. This kind of like seasoned navigator, changed it out at the last moment.
Yeah, I think the value of this is completely dependent on the cost because it seems really cool, but people already don't use seasoned navigator too much. Like Ken using it is. Say it again.
Unless you're really high initiative,
right? Which
I'm not sure that we're going to get one high initiative of these transports anyways.
Well, looking back, the only prerequisite is that it has to be resistance. So you could put something, so it has to be a speed higher. So you think this is going to be cheaper than Seasoned Navigator?
Yes, because you cannot... Wait, let me double check one
because
thing.
It forces you to change the speed?
Yes, I'm just double checking. Seasoned Navigator says after you reveal your dial, you may set your dial to another non-red maneuver. Oh, now does this one require it to be non-red? No. That's amazing. Go back to that dial then. Boom, there it is. 3 bank right there. So if you were to, so you could change your hard 2 to a 3 bank, the opposite direction.
You could? How? You
really
increase the difficulty of. You're going to make it a purple bank. That doesn't exist in maneuvers.
No, that's what I'm saying. That this card does let you choose non-maneuver. So there's no restriction. It just says basic maneuver. That 3 banks basic. That's what I'm saying. So
you would go from red to red, right? I guess it would just stay red.
Stays red. Mm-hmm. So I could see it. What Seasoned Navigator is 5. I could see this at 4, maybe 3. They're trying to be aggressive with it. I mean, it doesn't have too many places it could go because it is resistance only. But yeah, a couple points. It's not too bad. Mm-hmm. I don't think it will replace Seasoned Navigator on Han or anything, but it could be interesting.
So we did get a good look at both the resistance transport put together and taken apart. So now we know, actually, I didn't actually put 2 and 2 together, that the transport that Rose and Finn were taking to Canto Bight in The Last Jedi was the shuttle part of this ship.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together there, so that's pretty cool to see. The ship separated there and being able to fly it separately. Now let's go ahead and move on.
We missed one thing.
What did we miss?
Go back. I didn't read that Initiative 3's ability. I was looking at it before. I thought it was a generic because I'm a dingus, but I'll let you read the name.
Padmé Amidala.
Yep, exactly. I love this ability. While you have 2 or fewer stress tokens, you may execute red maneuvers even while stressed. Seems good.
That seems really strong. Lots of board control. It's a small base ship, but if you need to stay nearby for a block or something like that.
Let's reference that dial now. The red maneuvers on the ship are hard 1, 1 reverse, stop, 3 bank, and 4 forward.
I could be anywhere.
It's pretty good. I mean, no actions, but I get some maneuverability out of it.
Well, if the resistance...
Also, hold on. No K-turn.
Nope. So you got
No K-turn, no turret, huh?
hard one to turn around.
No, you reverse hard one.
Reverse.
Sorry, bank reverse hard one. You got parallel park.
I like it. Yep. And it has a stop. Yeah. Being able to choose, like doing a hard stop and either being like, all right, I'm either going to stop or go forward. You don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could get its arc going. I mean, it's only going to be one of them because it's a unique or so, but
Yep.
he'll find ways to shoot that auto blaster in this build, anyways.
And I
Very
think
cool.
as the roster of crew cards grows for the Resistance, if it has different pilots that require certain ranges, having the ability to have those 2 red moves in a row could be really, really good. So
Oh yeah,
I like that. So now we got Padmé Amidala in the Naboo Royal N1 Starfighter, one of my favorite ships, the Aggressive Negotiator. So this ship chassis has focus, target lock, roll, and boost all white actions, and her ability reads, while an enemy ship in your front firing arc defends or performs an attack, that ship can modify only one focus result. Other results can still be modified. So when you spend a focus, only one of them can be changed. Essentially, seems really strong.
turns your focuses into calculates, huh?
Mm-hmm. Now versus the funny thing is that versus Separatists, it actually it's like we got calculate anyway, right?
Padmé's not fighting droids,
Right? Yeah.
It's not how she plays.
But one of the things, I mean, we have the dial here. So with the dial of the N1, is she going to be able to keep her front arc on target as often as you need it?
Yeah, she's got boost and barrel roll. She's got hard 3, 4 forward. She's got everything but what, hard ones?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty good dial with boost and or barrel roll. Or you can afterburners and just do both. You're fine. Yeah, but, man, you won't be able to get a token if you do that, though.
Uh-huh. Also important to note that when it comes to modifying only one focus result, that includes the force, and that also includes target locks. You can't touch if you roll multiple eyes versus Padmé, you're gonna be sad because target re-rolling those dice is the same as is a modification. So you couldn't do that either.
You didn't pick up on my segue there.
I didn't. Sorry.
No, go back. This is particularly nasty with the full throttle, the ability that all of the Naboo Starfighters get. After you execute a maneuver, that's 3, 4, or 5. After you fully execute a 3, 4, or 5 maneuver, you may perform an evade action. Now, if you have an invade and then shoot somebody in your arc with like your weapon, and you have juke, you're creating more eyeballs for them to not be able to modify.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So juke pretty much stapled to Padmé, right? That seems, assuming she has an elite pilot talent.
I think you're gonna staple juke to every single one of these. But Padmé especially, I think she gets a lot of use out of it too. We'll see.
Agreed.
We'll see. These are the biggest question mark ships for me. I have no idea if they'll be good.
Yep. And her ability is unlimited use. It's not charge based at all. So if you got multiple, because it is when you're defending and attacking. So she's just pointed at a swarm or something like that. Though she's probably going to be dead if she's pointed at a whole swarm, unless she's flanking. That ability triggers for every single attack and defense. Seems really good. So there's a better look at the ship. They did make the silver shiny, which I highly approve of. Very, very pretty. Then we got this droid. It's a Republic droid. R2C4. While you perform an attack, you may spend 1 evade token to change 1 eyeball result to a hit result. So this is obviously meant for the Naboo starfighters with their full throttle ability, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a waste if you don't. Wow, well, this is really good. Like, Juke. Oh no, this doesn't work with Juke, does it? Though.
Because you would have.
You modify your
you modify
dice,
your dice first, yeah.
Modify your attack dice before you modify the defense dice.
Mm-hmm.
So looks like everybody's getting Juke except for who's ever carrying R2C4, because they could just be out there target locking and double mod your offense.
Right, because essentially, if you have a opponent with like canceling an evade when your opponent has no tokens is the same as adding a hit. And this is very similar. The only time it really matters is if your opponent's rolling natties, right? And you're like equal, like 2 dice, 2 dice. So I'm curious, like, if this is cheaper than Juke, you take this over Juke, right?
I mean, this has to be 1 point cheaper than Juke.
Right.
As long as it is cheaper than Juke, yeah. It's doing the exact same thing, so.
Mm-hmm. Though, of course, you do have to spend the evade rather than just having it.
Yeah, so this would be for, I don't know, a low agility or a low initiative ship? Or a high initiative? Kind of goes either way, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's an interesting ability. I just don't know how often you're going to be able to use it. Because you're going to want to hold on to that evade token. Because by having Juke,
I'm thinking like your build is the highest initiative with crack shot and this droid, and you just come up and evade target lock.
Okay.
So you don't need Juke because you're using your crack shot, and you can still double modify your offense by using the evade and target lock. And shoot, maybe you don't roll an evade, and bam, or you don't roll an eyeball on attacking.
Yeah.
Looks like you got an evade for defense then.
Very true. Very true.
So I don't know. What's Juke at these days? 5?
4, 5? That sounds right. 5 sounds right.
Yeah. So
well, let's go ahead and hit little Annie. Not hit him, but talk about. Let's smack little Annie. So Anakin Skywalker, hero of Naboo. Go ahead, Will.
All right. It says, before you reveal your maneuver, you may spend 1 force charge to barrel roll. This is not an action. He's got 1 force charge, so once per round. Mm-hmm. We only have 1 dial, so.
Now I do think it was neat. Then we were joking, like Anakin should get like a double barrel roll. You can double barrel roll with Anakin.
Yeah, and I guess in theory you could. You can even barrel roll while stressed.
Yes.
And if you had Palpatine, which I think is the only coordinating, or the only way to coordinate a unique ship in the Republic, you could coordinate a barrel roll to Anakin before he moves, and then spend his force charge to barrel roll him again.
Mm-hmm. Seems good.
I mean, is that good? I don't know. It sounds
seems
hilarious,
fun.
though.
Seems fun. Yeah, I mean, they had to put him in. Like, as soon as they said they were releasing the ship, they had to put him in there. He's at initiative 4, so he's in the middle. 2 attack dice. I mean, I don't know how much play he's going to get, but it seems like it's fun and thematic. Some of the pilots have to be fun and thematic, right?
I'll just point out that some quick math, and it's if you are a initiative 4 force user, okay, you spend 16 points for supernatural reflexes. So just throwing that down in the calculations, that this is basically half of supernatural.
Yeah.
For free. Well, not for free, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. Double barrel roll. Wow. You can't do it right in a row though, unless the coordinating. But still very cool.
Yeah, you can do it in a row. Why not?
Because it's before you reveal your maneuver.
Oh yeah. You would be sorry. Yeah, you barrel roll, move, barrel roll. Yeah, sad.
That's what I was saying with the coordinate. You could just shift this over 4 squares or whatever. It'll be fine. What are their greens at, by the way? Or blues. First edition air horn.
Right there. So you got the 2 forward, 2 banks, 3 forward, 3 banks.
But they have white 1 banks, huh? All right, so 3 bank blue is pretty good. Pretty good. I was just checking it. That's not bad. Oh yeah, and 3 bank blue for their full throttle. Oof.
Yep. Clearing the stress,
Okay.
getting evades.
All right, fair enough. Only 2 attack dice, 2 agility, 5 health. Like it's not staying alive forever. But no, it's got potential. I'm interested. You know I'm buying them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Same. All right, then we go on to some upgrade cards. We have the Plasma Torpedo. It has returned from the grave a new Plasma Torpedoes. 3 front arc attack, range 2 to 3, and it does not give a range bonus. Has 2 charges. It says attack target lock, so you must have a target lock. Spend 1 charge. During the neutralize results step, crit results are canceled before hit results, and after this attack hits, the defender loses 1 shield. So, assuming you hit, you always get +1 shield, so this is going to be really good against highly shielded ships, and honestly, is going to... It being at 3 dice is going to... Because you get the shield, and versus shielded ships is just as good as a 4 dice attack. So, it's going to be, I think, a very highly used torpedo, no?
Well, it does have to hit before you lose the shield, though.
Very true.
So...
It's a little more difficult because you actually only have 3 dice to do it with, right?
Yeah. But getting 3 evades is more and more difficult. Especially if you don't have a range bonus. So, yeah, it does cancel crit results before hits. Why do you think they did that?
Probably just to lower the power level.
Okay.
For 2 dice attacks, 2 dice attack ships using it.
Well, there's a question for you. How many 2 attack dice ships have torpedoes? Got Naboo Starfighter,
Naboo Starfighter, the Seek,
Starwing, Bomber, Punisher.
Yes.
Is that it? Is that only 5? Off the top of my head, we're starting to get a lot of ships in this game, so I can't remember. But that's interesting, though. K-Wings, I guess? There you go. Duh. K-Wings obviously have 2 attack dice. So there's actually quite a bit of ships who have torpedoes, who would like that extra attack dice.
The Y-Wing as well. And the hyena bomber, most likely.
There you go. Plenty of ships who'd like this. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of those ships we named off also had missile slots, and this is way better than any missile out there right now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And another thing to note is the way that this word is after this attack hits. So you determine whether or not the attack hits. That means the shield comes off first, right? Before you deal damage. So
yeah, that's why
that makes it even better. That makes it even better.
Yeah, that's why they were trying to get a couple crits out of there before you start knocking off that person's like one shield or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably fair balance reasons, but this really hurts if your ship has, or no, it changed now, isn't it? Never mind. I was going to say this is much better against 2 shielded ships, but that's another first edition moment. They kept the art, and I can't stop thinking about first edition now. So this still works, even if the defender has only 1 shield, which is great.
Yeah, that's huge. Rips the shield off and then deals the damage. Pretty cool. I mean, having more secondary weapon options, I think, really helps. Some of these, like I would love to see the Seek Interceptor like be good. Like it's never been good. Like, come on, like give it a chance.
Oh man, I think it was in Hanover. 7 Seeks got 4 wins. I don't know who the guy was, but he's my hero this week. He brought 5 jamming beams and 2 tractors. It fits. 7 cannons, Diom. He won X-Wing.
Well, you know, I see in that mass, I could see the jamming.
The 2 tractors actually doing well.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, you get tractor to get pulled into 6 other shots, range 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to go well for you. Everybody's wedge all of a sudden.
We're all wedged now. Yeah, and then you have to spend your tokens on that shot, on that tractor beam shot. Otherwise,
it's funny. We're getting way off topic now, but
that's okay.
More secondary weapons.
Yep.
As long as they're balanced, I think 3 attack dice secondary weapons are probably always be balanced. So.
Then we got a peek at the comparison of the B-Wing to the Resistance Transport, kind of seeing the idea of the retrofit and how it transformed from one thing to another. You could see the cockpit, especially. You could really see that at the top there for part of the shuttle, and also the tail gun there. Another shot of that. Close-up of Connix, and here we go. This is the last one. The DBS 404. Go ahead. Take it, Will.
It says preservation protocol not found. I love the subtitles. Anyways, it says you can perform primary attacks at range 0. While you perform an attack at range 0 to 1, you must roll 1 additional attack die. After the attack hits, suffer 1 critical damage. So that is this is on a Haida bomber who has 2 attack, 2 agility, 5 hull.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a 4 dice range 1.
Mm-hmm.
Or excuse me, 4 dice range 0.
Range 0, yeah. Because, well, actually, you know, I need to see something. I gotta see something because.
Do you get range bonuses?
You get a range bonus at range 0. I'm not entirely sure.
Arvel does, or is that Arvel's card that says that?
I just want to. Let's double check here.
I'm asking the interesting questions.
I just. People are saying, yeah, you do.
Arvel doesn't say anything about getting an extra attack dice on his card.
Yeah, just want.
So I would assume by default.
Just want to double check here. Range bonus. Rules reference says it. That's what I want to know. Does the rules reference it? If it does, just trust us.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I've been led astray before.
Ever. Just trust me.
All right.
I mean, I'm fairly certain as well. But this it does suffer a crit if he hits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
His initiative 4, though, which is the highest of any separatist outside of Grievous and Maul. Oh no, there's that Nantex coming out too. But for a droid, pretty high initiative. You're still looking it up, aren't you?
Oh yeah, for sure. It is 0. It is 0 to 1. I had to double check.
So you do agree now? This would be a 4 dice range 0.
It is 100% a 4 dice attack. Yep.
That's pretty good. Can't complain. He might not need munitions then. Oh, energy shell. You just slap one energy shell on this guy and it's good to go.
Yep. You take that range 3 shot and then you send them in.
Oh yeah, whatever 4 forward, whatever they got, bring them in. Put some afterburners on this guy. He could use it. You're supposed to talk me out of that, Dion. You're supposed to talk
afterburners. Yeah, don't do that. Don't make these things more expensive. That's there's. Do you see? It says preservation protocol not found. Not found. Oh yeah, it seems like a fun card. I mean, also cost dependent. If it's in line with a lot of the other the other droids, he might be cheap enough where even though you're gonna throw away this little robot's life, because if he's going into the teeth of your opponent's list, he's gonna hit something hard. He's gonna be able to avoid one shot, whatever it is that he's attacking at range 0. And then most likely maybe live an additional turn, right? Because he's going to take a crit, assuming that he gets hit. Or maybe, do you have him like lead a swarm and be close enough to use network calculations?
Yeah, so everybody else can shoot at the guy who blocked.
Yeah. Huh.
Oh, he'll be interesting. I mean, the initiative is the problem because he can't move first. He's probably going to have to still move last out of your kind of grouping. But I'm pretty excited about the Vulture droids, and this is the tinfoil hat moment.
Oh, tinfoil! Put it on.
Check out that art.
The Walker.
Tinfoil hat Walker's confirmed.
Walker. Confirmed. Walker's.
Has to be, right? It's on the art.
Right, Legion X-Wing crossover.
No, we're just gonna get around.
You know what? They have been walkers in space. There was a Clone Wars episode where they were on asteroids, and it was like they were like psyching out the Separatists. Actually, it was a pretty awesome episode. So yeah, confirmed. That's a joke. That's a joke.
All right, I mean, if you say so. I love these hyena models, so I'm real excited about them.
They are pretty for sure, and I think
that may or may not be Mr. Tubbs there too.
Yeah, they put on the wrong they put on the wrong base. They were just like, oh, let me just grab this one so we can show it off. And then I want to talk about this bomb.
Oh man,
this is probably the biggest what. The biggest surprise that they're releasing here. It is the electroproton bomb. Has a single charge. It requires you to fill a device slot, a modification slot, and you must have the reload action. The card is not reloadable. It's just you must be a ship that has reload on your action bar. And it says, during the system phase, you may spend 1 charge to drop the electroproton bomb and use the 1 forward. So normally placed, and then it says, place 1 fuse marker on that device. We'll get to what a fuse marker is in a second, but there's the token. Will, what does this bomb do?
It says at the end of the activation phase, it detonates, just as all bombs like this token do. But it says, when this device detonates, each ship at range 0 to 2...
0 to 2. To 2.
That's over twice the amount of all the other bombs.
Yep.
Each ship rolls 4 attack dice. Each ship loses 1 shield for each blank result, 1 ion token for each eyeball or hit result, and gains 1 disarm token for each crit. And so we're looking at like 25% chance for that disarm token.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like 100% chance. It's pretty high to gain at least one ion token on 4 dice. And the blank results, let's see, there's 2 blanks on each side. So 1/4 before. So you're looking at like 50% chance to lose a shield as well.
So yeah, it doesn't do any damage cards, which is good. Oh my goodness, that would have been a little bit too much. But yeah, it's a really good, really strong control piece. Let's go back here. It is unique, so a squad will only ever have one of these, and you can't reload it. So it is a one-time use. But
can you go back to the first card for a second?
Yep.
Finish your thought. One-time use.
Yeah, it's a one-time use, but when used effectively, I think it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, so I have my only question about this is how does it interact with Trajectory Simulator? Trajectory Simulator said during the system phase, if you would drop or launch a bomb, you may launch it using the 5 forward instead.
Yep.
Does this?
So you can launch it, but that goes into the next point I wanted to make, and that was the fuse markers. So you must place a fuse marker. It's not a may. Right there it says then place 1 fuse marker on that device, and the fuse marker delays the detonation of this bomb by 1 turn. So your opponent and yourself has a turn to get out. They did demonstrate that you will need 2 turns to get out if you're dropping it. For most of these ships that have the reload action and can fill all those slots, they're not fast enough to get away. So you got 2 turns to get out. You drop it, move, you get another move, and then it goes kaboom. So what I can see being really powerful with this is other control aspects where if you ionize somebody and drop this on the same turn, you're like, well, now you're coming. You have no choice. You're going to be hit by this thing anyway.
Potentially, I don't know. I think it's more of a scare tactic than anything.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta go. You can't hang out here.
Get out. Nobody likes you.
But I am interested in the someone's gonna have to run the probability and get back to us. So what's the chances you're gonna get ionized? Because it's almost like 100% in my opinion. Like there's five.
There's 5 eyeball hits, and you're rolling 4 dice. That seems really good. I mean,
it seems like
that seems like a very high probability that you're going to get at least 1 ion token. But one of the cool things is that it gives the opportunity for large base ships and medium base ships to be instantly ionized, which is something that doesn't exist in the game yet, besides being shot by multiple ships that with ion cannons.
No, one.
I guess sorry. I guess you can. Sorry, I'm thinking about again. I had a first edition moment. Sorry.
First edition. Well,
another way to get those ships ionized.
I can see why people are having a reaction to it. It sounds scary. Yeah, it sounds super unpredictable and scary.
Very, very much so. And maybe is it maybe more of a threat than anything else? Like you get it out, it out there, and
it's a scare tactic. Like, please don't follow me.
Don't follow me, or maybe you're trying to get somebody in a certain part of the board. So
the ships that this I assume comes with is the Y-wing and the Hyena bomber, or excuse me, just the Hyena bomber.
Yeah, it comes with just the Hyena bomber. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not unique to any other. Like it doesn't say like Hyena bomber only. So that means that any ship that fills those requirements, which is the Y-wing, the Hyena bomber, the Imperial bomber, the Punisher,
the Mega Fortress.
Yep, Star Fortress.
fire sprays with Andrasta.
Mm-hmm. Nim.
Nim does not have reload.
He doesn't have reload. Thank God. Oh, man. Nim, though, if you have Boba Fett with all that and Nim, you could just hold that thing.
Yeah, Iman Nim, which is a really funny list if you run just both of them. Iman, let me think about this strategy for you. Iman with Boba Fett deploys with his rear facing you, okay? And then just round one, hard threes out one of these electron proton bombs. Like right where you are in your deployment zone. And you have and then you let the fuse go off, and then you have no idea when it's actually going to explode or not.
Nope. Nah. It seems like a good. I know, just like myself, Captain Nim triggers a couple people. Do you say that name? People go, no. But it does seem like a really powerful tool with an ability like that, for sure.
It's just really scary. I don't know how often we'll see it. Probably never. But man, is it scary out there? Whatever ship brings, because it's unique. You only have one, right?
Right.
So whatever ship brings this into battle, it's like target priority number one.
Get it out. Get it out. All right. Well, that was really cool to look at. Thank you to FFG for putting on that stream. It's really cool to get little tidbits here and there, even though they're not in the articles. And thank you for dropping it on Tuesday, because we had something to talk about. We had other things, but thank you. Still appreciate it.
I like the new content.
Oh, yeah. Always. I mean, we like toys, right? That's why we play this game. We like new toys.
They do get me on them toys.
Alrighty. So let's go ahead and do our list of the week.
Oh, I got a list of the week. Set up here for you. This is a I love this this synergy here. So it starts off with a Lando escape craft, pretty normal. Combines with Asajj Ventress, who has hate for more force, Shadowcaster for tractor beams when she shoots, and Latsratsi to spend people's stress as basically evade tokens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Asajj, we all know that she stresses at the start of combat. Another initiative 4. Is that right? I may be wrong. Anyways, Bosk in the Trandoshan Slaver.
Bosk is a 4 as well.
Yeah, so that's the same initiative as Asajj, which means that Bosk can shoot after she shoots with Shadowcaster. That's important. Bosk also has 000, 4-LOM, and BT-1. He's got a full droid crew. 000 is a way to stress people, just like Asajj's ability. 4-LOM is a attack modifier. And BT-1, which is a new gunner slot for Bosk, lets him change, if they are stressed, he gets a crit, and he desperately needs those crits to do extra damage. So what this boils down to is that you can coordinate Asajj, so she can have focus evade or target lock evade. And then she can set up the stress for Bosk, who is kind of your anvil. I always forget which one's the hammer and which one's the anvil in the analogy.
Right.
But Bosk is your hard hitter. Asajj is a kind of like a tanky debuffer. And then you got a classic Lando. Well, what's your thoughts on this, Dion?
I'm taking a second to pull it up here. So, I like, you already pointed out BT-1 just giving Bosk a way to somehow generate some crits, though it requires you to already have hits on the table. But I guess that's the synergy with Asajj. One of my issues with lists like this is that they do, when you have all your pieces in place, the trick works, right? You can see what he was going for, but I worry once you lose a piece is like let's say Asajj goes down. Does Bosk have enough tools to do well enough in the end game?
Well, I mean, he's getting reinforced in target lock from Lando. And then he can, if there's somebody at range 1, he's either getting that automatic crit modifier on them through 000 and BT1, or he's getting a calculate. And then every couple of turns or so, he gets a 4-LOM charge, which prevents them from taking tokens. So I think that's an interesting droid crew.
Mm-hmm.
I just like the theme of these only has droids with him. But I think he can pack a punch out there. I think what do I want to say? I think the preferred coordinate might actually be boss reinforcement.
Yeah.
Which also, as a note, they're all initiative 4, which makes coordinating really easy then.
Yep. And then also having the option to move at different times gives you a lot of options there. There's always
like reinforcing Bosk before he stops.
Mm-hmm.
Coordinating a target lock to Asajj before she 5Ks.
Yep. Avoiding any type of if you're in the scrum in the middle, being able to move at any order you need to in order to either get blocks or get off of blocks that you need. Seems really good.
No, I think this is a pretty good synergy. I've seen this with just those two, just Bosk and Asajj.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of like the slimmed down versions to sneak in that good coordinating ship. And Lando's not so bad himself. I mean, he can double modify his offense if he needs to.
Very true.
Using his pilot ability to reroll blanks. So he might get a good shot in by himself.
Would you change this in any way?
I really like Maul on Asajj, but it's kind of it's a little unnecessary. No. You know what? I might make one change.
Okay.
And it would be as an alternative. Well, no, it has 2 points. You can just put trick shot on Bosk. That would be my first suggestion right there. You should grab the old trick shot.
Boom. Especially when he has a 180 arc, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a turret in my opinion. So the only other thing is I actually really like Kira crew, and I would change out 4-LOM instead. Especially trick shot Kira, which means Bosk could just land right on top of a rock and get a 5-dice attack, which could, in theory, do 6 damage. It's pretty good. You know what I'm talking about, Dion?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was reading the chat.
It's okay. Made me self-conscious that I wasn't pronouncing Kira's name right.
How dare you?
I was just imagining you're sitting there like, who is he talking about? What crew member?
Say who?
No, I think that. No, overall though, I really like it. I've been trying to put Bosk back on the board, and not exactly Asajj, but I think it's interesting. Shadowcasters are an interesting puzzle these days as well. So.
Yep. Agreed. I played them for a couple weeks just trying to get a feel for it. I tried Asajj. I tried Ketsu. And they have some cool abilities. I think.
But they're essentially just a front arc only ship now.
Right. Yeah. You almost never put it to the side. And I think that if the points come down, we'll start to see them because their abilities are really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Maybe just a couple more. Like Hate does a lot for Asajj, and maybe a couple other juicy crew might put Ketsu over the top as well. Mm-hmm. Or actually, we saw Ketsu do well. Made it into the Kata Adepticon, so.
Truth. Also, but played by a really good player, right? So was it more? Was it more the list or him? I mean, old
probably the player at that point, but the potential is there.
Alrighty. Well, thank you to whoever. Do you remember who submitted this list by any chance?
Yes, I can tell you that right now. It was on our Discord channel. And this is Jules 34.
Jules 34, thank you so much for your submission. And every week we go and we pick up a list in our submissions channel on our Discord. If you haven't become a part of that, it's super easy, it's free, and anybody can join. So go ahead and you can put your submissions in the list of the week and also the podcast question of the week, which we're going to go ahead and hit now. So our unanswered question this week comes from WJ Cargill. He says, "Hi everyone. I'm trying to find rules clarification for the U-Wing and how the stop maneuver affects its abilities at range 0 of another ship. There seems to be plenty of chat around what's allowed and what isn't. Specifically, if a U-Wing causes another ship to overlap and on the following turn it performs a white stop maneuver, are the ships still considered overlapping? Can the U-Wing perform its action? How does the base rotation affect this? Dion, would this be a good quick tip video?" Yes, it would be a good quick tip video, and we're going to go ahead and talk about it right now as well. So if you've overlapped a ship, you have two ships that bumped into each other. One's a U-Wing, and now it uses Leia to white stop. So you are still at range 0. So you cannot attack that ship, assuming that your arc is pointing at it. The U-Wing cannot attack it. So that's part one. You can't attack. Yes, the U-Wing would still get its action because during the movement, which was the white stop, it did not overlap another ship. Now, as for the rotation, if the rotation fits, you're fine. Then you're allowed to rotate that way. But I know that the small bases and the large bases, 100% for sure, are not perfect squares. And then when you start to take nubs into consideration, depending on the exact placement, there is going to be a situation where you try to rotate and you won't be able to because the nubs won't let you. So you can try, and essentially that would be a failed rotation, but you can choose another one. I'd have to look a little deeper into the actual card text.
I've never actually. You are correct. That will happen, but I've never ever seen that in practice or thought about it.
Yeah, it's not going to be. It's not common in any way, but it's just something that's a little bit odd, a corner case, and that's why I like these unanswered questions. Something like, "What if this happened?" And that's what I got. I'm going to go just take a peek at the pivot wing card and see how it's read.
I think you choose a side.
Yeah, you may rotate 90 or 180 degrees. So you don't have to.
But what happens if you fail? Then just nothing.
There isn't a penalty. So you can try to rotate. Oh, actually, I guess I didn't. If you want to go back to the same spot.
That's weird.
I'm guessing it's not super clear, but it would be when the moment arises. If the rotation you want doesn't fit, that would definitely be a judge call. Like, judge, can I just put it back where I want it to? So it doesn't always fit because it's not a square. So hopefully that answers your question. And you are right. It would be a good quick tips video. I'm going to have to confer with some of the judge Illuminati to ask what happens. What would happen if you don't fit and you want to go back to where you would go? Yeah, we'll see. Well, I want to thank Will. Thank you so much for joining me, man. It's super awesome chatting with you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And you might be wondering, where's Marcel? Marcel, busy. Stuff. That was the answer we got. Hey guys, I got stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't know what stuff means, but okay. But honestly, most likely because we are going to be in Southern Illinois streaming and playing at that hyperspace trial, most likely he has to get some work done because he's not going to be available for the weekend. That's probably what's going to happen. Will, let's take a second and let's talk about our positive life changes. Positive life-changing 5 minutes. How are you doing, man?
I'm trying to think of the last time I bought cigarettes. I'm still at I bought that pack of cigarettes for a celebration.
Right.
That was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
3. Feels like 3.
Yes. So I'm still going to get on that. Though I have been acquiring cigarettes. My girlfriend is doing a lot worse job than me at not buying them.
Okay.
But I'm putting the pressure on her, trying to be like, I thought we were a team. And she's like, cigarettes are great. And I was like, I know. So, no, I mean, like I said, it's...
one step at a time, right?
Yeah, no, it's... can't do it all at once. Like
That's right.
I think I said it last week. I might say it the next week. It's not one decision. It's many, many decisions you have to make. So I'm still committed to saying or making those decisions. Positive life changes.
Positive life changes. On my front, my dedication to trying to lose weight and just be a little bit healthier, I did lose a few pounds, which was awesome. Good to see. For the first time ever, I ate a salad while on the road. I have never been on an X-Wing trip and said, I'll take a salad, please. Actually, it was really good. It had strawberry vinaigrette dressing. It was delicious. It's really good. Not a perfect week, though. I would say my biggest achievement, I would say, was that 0 days since last Tuesday of driving home that I stop and buy food. I didn't do that.
Hey,
so
there you go.
I'm feeling good, and yeah. So
Are you like bringing like healthy snacks, carrots and apples, certain things like with? Yeah.
So most of the time, like not for driving, I'm chewing gum. A lot of gum chewing in the car, because I just kind of want to break the habit of eating in the car. Like,
oh,
it's
okay.
just,
I see what you're saying.
like,
yeah.
I'm just trying to.
It's the same way of I don't want to get onto vaping.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm right there with you. Just trying to stop the habit altogether.
Yeah. So, like, if I have to stop somewhere, maybe that is a good solution, though. Like, if it's like I gotta eat something, stop at like a grocery store and pick up like some bananas or something, you know.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm feeling I'm doing well. I wouldn't say that it was a perfect week, but definitely better, and it showed on the scale, so that feels really good. And yeah, so thank you for joining us for Healthy Life Choices segment. If you're super confused, especially if you're watching live, we started this a couple weeks ago, and yeah, we're real people, and we struggle with stuff, and we're just working on being better. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, I highly suggest it. All of the videos from this last weekend, the Denver System Open, are going to be uploaded on there. The podcast, the quick tips, This Week in X-Wing, and some new stuff that's on the way, as well as a new channel reveal is coming. Will doesn't even know about this. That's how many levels deep this is. That's how many levels deep. Actually, Will does, but he doesn't know that he does, because I talked about it a while ago.
I do have an idea.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about that in a couple weeks. I got a couple of things to get finished first before I unveil. Basically, I want to have a couple of... We'll talk about it later. I'll tease you. We'll leave it there. And if you haven't followed us on Twitch, I highly suggest that so you don't miss any of our live streams, including us live streaming this weekend from the Bloomington Normal Hyperspace Trial. We have the Atlanta System Open coming up, Seattle System Open. We're going to Australia, and we have the Nova Open. We got all kinds of stuff. X-Wing, like almost every weekend, coming live for you. Except, I think it's like literally the next 5 weeks, there's going to be some type of X-Wing streaming we're doing, except for the Mother's Day weekend. I think that's the only one we don't have. If I'm remembering that right. Yeah. So tons.
Do you remember what weekend's Mother's Day?
The 19th? May 19th?
Buy
your mama some flowers, don't forget.
I'm scrambling for a piece of paper.
Wait, you're making me doubt myself now.
I'm sure it's that. What you said. Of course it is.
Nope. No, it's not. It's not. Nope. Panic. It's the 12th. It's the 12th.
Okay. You're like a week late.
Yeah, I was a week late. So it's not this weekend, everybody. It's the following weekend. Don't forget, okay? So super excited about that. And remember, if you want to join our Discord, it's super easy. If you're watching live, ¡Discord! And if you're not watching live, the link is in the description. It's basically a big chat room. We talk about X-Wing, and no worries. We have pretty strong rules about spoilers. We actually have little channels where you can talk about spoiler things like Avengers Endgame, if you want to talk about that, or Episode 9, and all kinds of things that you want to chat about. And if you want to become one of our part of the largest group of supporters we have here at Gold Squadron Podcast, you can go to patreon.com/Gold Squadron. Get that awesome Q2 swag featuring the Grand Republic and a dash of Separatists. My name's Dio Morales. For everybody here at Gold Squadron, thank you for watching. Gold Squadron out.
I'm Matthew Wood. I play the voice of General Grievous in Star Wars, and you're listening to the Gold Squadron Podcast.
Gold Squadron out.